that haunts. This is for the question marks. This is for that just found out life is now upside down.
This is for the second chance. This is for the new romance. Singing for the left in vain. Overcame, it's not too late.
If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel alone, don't understand. If you're fighting the fight of your life, then stand. We're gonna make it through this hand in hand. If we fall, we will fall together. Together. Together we are dangerous. Together with our differences. Together we are bolder, braver, stronger. There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and what's reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the seas and shutting out the need remind of how I've been set free. There is a cross that bears no burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. There is another in the fire. Come and make the space between all the things unseen in this reckoning. I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the water, holding back the seas. And surely heaven needs reminding. I've got your back to me. I'll count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. There is another in the fire. 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 Can I see his hands up?
I was searching for something I knew was there but couldn't see. I remember the moment when the one I was searching for found me. I can't make sense of it, no getting over it. How much your love changed everything. Oh, 'cause I know you now. How could I go without Jesus? You're more than enough for me. I don't need anything else. I need your love. I need your love. I don't want anything else. I need your love. I need your love. God, I need you like water. God, I need you like I needed to breathe. I won't take you for granted. I won't go back to how I used to be.
All right, all right. G5 leadership, how we doing tonight? Yeah. We excited for 2024? Well, you're in the right place at the right time with the right leaders. It's going to be an incredible night. And my name is Josh. I'm a servant leader here at G5. And this is an incredible, incredible opportunity we have tonight to just be poured into and equipped and encouraged. As we get started, if you want to make sure that if you have a cell phone with you tonight, you have that on silent. This is going to be recorded, and we've got a live audience tonight as well, watching on, I think, YouTube and our Facebook, so that's incredible. We're getting high tech around here at G5, so we're having a lot of fun. But tonight, as we get started, you know, this is a place where we always say it when we come to G5, you can belong before you know how to behave. And we just, at G5, PT has had the privilege to go around the globe and just pour into leaders and teams and organizations, a lot of them that we walk into on a regular basis, and leaders that we read their books and we listen to these guys, and you know them, but he's walked with them and he's actually worked with them and helped them, right? And so it's really incredible what we have an opportunity with here tonight. And you know, we say, hey, this is a place where, honestly, if you were to pay for this tonight, it would cost a lot of money. In the locker room the other night, PT kind of, you know, it's actually, if you go to the Speakers Bureau, it's $12,500 an hour for his time. And so tonight, you know, there's no cover charge, there's no cost to this, but there is a cost to this, right? Somebody's paying for it. And so, hey, if you're online tonight or you're in this room and you're moved and you want to be a part of that, there's ways that we would just encourage you. We would love for you to give. But that's not why we're here tonight. He wants to give to you. His family wants to give to you. They want to pour into you. And so as we do this tonight, just know that you're so valuable, that he is taking time out of his night, his evening, but we're proud of you because you're making a commitment tonight. You taking time out of your life away from your family to come and get poured into and equipped and encouraged. This is incredible. So we're fired up. He's had a chance as he's gone to take his family everywhere he goes and put his children in meetings that most people, never get an opportunity to be in. talk to leaders at levels that most people never get a chance to communicate at. And his kids, the leadership and the example. We always say example is everything. And so, man, Blake and Bree, they're just incredible leaders. And tonight, we get to hear from PT. But first, we get to kick it off with Blake. And he is a leader's leader. He's a warrior. I love it when he gets something. He's got something in his. He is so tenacious. It's incredible. But he's taught me so much and just encouraged me a lot. And I'm really excited that we get to start 2024 off tonight hearing from Mr. Blake Goad.
Check, check, check. Well, what's up, G5 leadership? I am excited. I gotta make the joke, Josh. That is the best introduction I have had all year, and you will get that joke later if you don't get that now. Every time Josh goes, please don't make that joke, because it always embarrasses me. I'm like, I gotta do it, Josh. But are y'all excited for leadership? I am excited. We have, how long? We were talking about how long have we been doing leadership now, Mom? 5 years. It started at a restaurant. Can you believe that? And now it's on a Tuesday night with a packed crowd, and it is awesome. We're excited to grow together, but of course, me being me, I got to start off with a joke. A lot of you will know that I love. How many of you know laughter is so important? Laughter is one of the greatest things you can ever have in your entire life. It heals you when you need healing, and it makes you laugh when you laugh, if you understand what I mean. But I am excited. But so this guy takes his mother-in-law in to live with him. And one day he goes to work, and he comes home, and his mother-in-law is passed out on the ground in the house. And he's like, oh no, what happened? He's trying to figure out what's going on. And he finally calls 911, and 911 comes and takes her to the hospital. And he goes to the hospital, and he's there for hours waiting to figure out what's going on. And finally the doctor comes out, and he goes, I have bad news and I have worse news. And he goes, well, give me the worst news first, at least, so then the bad news is a tiny bit better, And he goes, well, your mother-in-law's fine. She's fine. She's going to live, but she had a very bad stroke, and she's not going to be able to walk or talk or anything for the rest of her life, and she's probably going to live for another 30 or 40 years. And he's like, oh, my gosh, that's terrible, but it's good that she's alive still. And he goes, but the problem is that she can't talk. So in order for you to hear her, she's just going to make this weird noise when she needs stuff. And you have to change her every day. And he goes through this whole list of stuff that he's going to have to do. And he goes, oh, my God. But he goes, but what's the bad news? He goes, oh, I'm just Josh, and she died. How many of you need friends like the doctor to give you something to look forward to, right? No, I'm kidding. But I'm excited, guys. I'm going to get going here because I have a very special guest I'm going to bring up after me. But today I want to talk about a new year, new me. New year, new me. And I kind of went through and took some of my talks I've given over the last, 6-8 months, and I kind of just wanted to kind of cover things that I feel like we really need going into the next year. And I can't believe it's 2024 already. Are y'all excited for 2024? I am excited, but I just want to give you 4 points real quick about what I feel like could help us grow into the people we're called to be in 2024. And point number 1 is motivation. Motivation. And, I was thinking about this, and people always get, New Year's resolutions, and they have all these things like, I'm going to go to the gym January 1st, and then January 3rd rolls around, and they didn't even go yet. You know what I'm talking about? But how many of you know the motivation you need in your life to get up and go to do the things that you want to do and you're called to do? One of the greatest things you can do is have people in your life that will motivate you when you're not able to motivate yourself. Association, right? Is everything. Motivation is always inspired by vision, activated by faith, supported by systems, and helped by having friends in your corner. Leaders become great not because the power they have, but the ability to empower others. I always love the quote that Abraham Lincoln says that you can test a man's character by the power that he is given. By the level he rises or falls, by the power that he has. What does he do with it? And it goes for women too. I am so encouraging. Successful people do consistently what others do occasionally. What are you doing consistently in 2024 that other people are doing occasionally that's going to grow you into the people you need to be in 2024? That is huge. One of the greatest things my dad taught me is when you're leading, take notes. Now, I'm dyslexic. For y'all that don't know what dyslexia means, it means I can't spell worth a snot. So when I write something down, I couldn't read what I wrote 5 seconds earlier. But how many of you know it's the act of taking the note down that will make your brain remember it even more? I don't care how misspelled it is or how bad it is, as long as you take the notes down, it is showing yourself that you can do something, accomplish something. Point number 2 is association. I covered that for a second, but the people you hang around, the 5 closest people you spend time with, will be who you become. My dad taught me at a very young age, who you are determines what you do. Who you are determines what you do. And what you do determines where you're going. And I love here at G5, we have beliefs and behaviors here. And one of the things is you can belong before you know how to behave. I've been around my family my whole life. You'll get that later. But I'm still learning how to behave. And you're thinking, Blake, you're a grown man. What do you mean you're still learning how to behave? How many of you know as adults, sometimes they act out the worst? I'm not saying I act out. I'm just saying sometimes adults sometimes need to grow up more than others, right? I'm not saying, look, guys, my dad taught me at a young age that it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're willing to still learn, you will go anywhere. How many of you did not like school as a kid? My teachers, my teacher is in the room. Well, my mom and then Aunt Farmer were. And she will testify that I was a fun student. Thank you so much. But how many of you know that I learned, my mom and dad taught me, school was not about what you're going to learn in the books. It's teaching you how to learn. And when I got that in my brain, I was excited to do school. Now, Aunt Farmer was like, no, you weren't. You'd made me laugh the whole time. Now, how many of you know laughter in school is a good thing? It's, it makes it more enjoyable for me at least. It was great. But how many of you know association is everything? If it wasn't for Miss Farmer, who knows if I would have I would have graduated high school, but it would have been a fun ride. But having her encourage me, she'll tell you there was times because I would sit there and be stuck on a problem, not because I didn't know the problem. I was so motivated to prove that I can do it. Because the people in my life encouraged me to say I can do it, that I was determined that I was going to do it. And there was a point in school that Miss Farmer finally looked at me and she goes, it's just a math problem. It's okay. And I'm like, thank you, Miss Farmer. But I was able to belong before I knew how to behave. And the second part of that is I belonged in before I knew how to believe. They believed in me before I knew how to believe in me. That I could do the math problem. And you're saying, Blake, why does the math problem keep coming back up? Guys, I still struggle with math to this day. But I won't forget the times that she would look at me and go, dude, you're not stupid. You can do this. You can do this. You being able to do this math problem is not going to determine what your outcome in life is going to be. I remember one day she looked at me and she goes, your determination to figure this problem out is more important than you getting the math problem right. Having the association in my life at a young age helped me grow so much. Number 3 is habits. The habits you have in your life will change everything. Change everything. I encourage you, I did a couple of talks a few months back about habits. I believe they're on the app. You can go look and see. But habits are everything. I love this. It says, dream big, start small, but most of all, start. No matter what it is in life, just start. Even if it doesn't make sense, just start. The craziest things that have ever been accomplished in life, they just started. Apple was started in a garage. Disney was started because he wanted his 2 daughters to have a safe place for their kids to play. Don't tell me that's a crazy dream. Now millions of people get to enjoy a safe place. I remember at a young age, my dad always told me, dude, there's never too big of a dream to never dream. Dream it. As long as you put the work in, dream it. Number 4 is ask questions. Ask questions. I remember my dad, he didn't use this word, but he looked at me at a young age. He said, a question unasked is a stupid question. He says, there's never a stupid question. Ask the questions. Ask the questions. Asking questions raises the standard of your leadership above the circumstances of your leadership you're leading in. Ask questions. I just said this, an unasked question is a stupid question. Questions are creative and acts of intelligence. Great questions are a form of great transform. How many know asking a question will transform you into the person you need to become? Right? I remember as a kid, in closing here, I used to ask so many questions, and I still do to this day. I ask so many questions, and it used to drive my parents nuts. Drive them nuts. And my dad, taught me at a young age, ask questions even when it doesn't make sense. And I remember one day I don't remember what was it I was asking you? I was asking you about something. And I remember I used to annoy my mom so bad because I used to be like, Mom, what are we doing? Where are we going? What are we doing? Where are we going? Where are we going? What are we doing? What are we doing? And my favorite question was, apparently when I was a kid, was that lunch or dinner? I could never remember. I was like, was that breakfast, lunch, or dinner? I couldn't remember, Mom. But I was asking questions. It may be a stupid question, but it was a question. But I remember one day my mom told me the story when I was old enough to understand. Apparently I asked so many questions one day. She went to my dad and said, honey, I don't know what to do with him. He will not leave me alone for 2 seconds without asking me a question. And he's like, honey, he's a leader. He's going to ask questions. Great leaders ask questions even when it doesn't make sense. So I want to bring up somebody. I am very excited to bring this person up. Who I used to annoy a lot, and I probably still do. I used to ask tons of questions to, and still do. And I am very grateful because she every day inspires me to be a better person, even when she doesn't realize she's doing it. If it wasn't for her, I would not be here. You'll get that later. Another joke, that was good. But I am so grateful for this person so much, but most of all because she's my mother. How do you know sometimes it's great to have people in your corner that'll pray for you and love you no matter what? And she is one of those people for me. And that is the alarm to tell me to shut up. This is great. I am so grateful for this person. So will you please help welcome my amazing mother, Mom G.
Wow. Awesome job, bub. It's hard to follow that. I can't see my notes. You have me crying, so wow. So I'm excited to be here. Welcome to the First Leadership. Yes. I'm not going to be long because the main event is here, but you know, when you're married to an amazing leader and winner, he can surprise you as he did today at 3:00. While we're in the car driving to the house, and he goes, babe, it's the First Leadership, and I really want you to get more involved with leadership this year. As a matter of fact, why don't you speak tonight? And I'm like, babe, I love you so much. We went home and had an hour to get dressed and ready and me figure out what I'm going to talk on. So hello, here I am. And I love you, honey. So I don't want to be long because really and truly, the wisdom in this man is so powerful. But I do want to talk just for a few minutes on the power of a teachable leader. A teachable leader. Anybody that knows me and knows I like to look up really what things mean. Even though we know, I love to look things up. And it said, teachable means capable of being taught. Capable of being taught. Now, this is the deal. It says capable, and you can be capable, but if you're not willing to be teachable, then you won't learn. So you can be capable all day long, but capable has to be tied to willingness. So you have to decide, am I going to be willing? Because being teachable is a decision. Bottom line, it is a decision. And one thing I've noticed with all the traveling that we've done, and just the people that were around, most leaders that cannot be teachable, most leaders that don't want to hear from someone, usually have a low self-esteem. And all they hear and all they do is stay in a threatening mindset instead of a grateful, hungry mindset. They're threatened by everything. How do I know this? Because I used to be that person. When I met PT, who, has been around the world, who's been with leaders everywhere, who's all these things, he just had everything together. And I had been through some really bad things in my life and believed lies. Anybody ever believed a lie about you? Somebody said something about you, and then you walk in it, and I believed in these lies. And so my self-esteem was horrible. And I meet this amazing man who believes in me. And then there'd be days when he would try to help me and teach me. And instead of me being teachable and wanting to accept it, and I know somebody can relate to this, I was threatened by it. And I'm thinking to myself, why does he think he has to teach me? Instead of me thinking, this man has so much to teach me. But instead, because of where I was walking in my low self-esteem, I did not know how to hear from him. And so a lot of times that's what you're going to find. I love this quote. You've got to write this down. It simply says this: you must always be the apprentice even when you become the master. You must always be the apprentice even when you become the master. Ever met someone that has just mastered everything and they can't be apprentice because they think they know everything? This is the deal. My husband, PT, I have watched him not only do this, but be this his whole life. He has literally, now understand what I just said. It's not something he just does, it's something who he is. And because he is that person, it is automatic for him to be teachable with people. It's automatic for him to want to learn because he doesn't think just because I've mastered something doesn't mean I shouldn't be an apprentice still. And I've watched him. He has taught me so much to learn that if I really want to be this way, I've got to be able to be teachable and to understand. This is the deal. You can learn from anyone. You really can. You can learn what not to do, or you can learn what to do. But you can learn from anyone. And in order to be teachable, you have to be reachable. There's bottom line. In order to be teachable, you have to be reachable. You have to be open. So real quick, I want to go through a couple things of what I believe a teachable leader looks like. Number one, a teachable leader has a spirit of humility. A spirit of humility. You cannot tell a know-it-all anything he thinks he already knows. It's been said, we can't learn anything new until we can admit that we don't already know everything. Teachable people approach life with an understanding that they can learn from anybody regardless of their state, their status, or their station in life. You probably don't know this about us, but along with everything we do here, PT and I love to decorate people's houses. Like, not for Christmas. Well, we do that too, but we love to come in and put every room together, and we're all about lamps and all about all the cozy thing, and we love it, and we're pretty good at it because we work together at it. But this is the deal. We know a lot about it. We truthfully do. We've really come a long way with it. But we are constantly learning how to do something different with it. I'm on Pinterest saying, oh, that'd be a cool idea. Let's make sure we do that somewhere else. And I'm always watching these shows and where people, and I don't sit there and go, oh, I can do that. I already knew that. Well, they're not any better than me. No, I'm going, oh my word, that's a great idea. I need to learn that. I need to take that in. That's called humility. That's God walking and going, I'm not it all the time. I can learn something. And this is the deal. I have watched my husband be this way our entire marriage. Truthfully, I've watched him walk into buildings with a group of people, and he would never tell you this, and he was the most important person in that room, who's accomplished the most of anybody in that room, and no one in that room would ever know it. because he doesn't feel the need to have to walk around and toot his horn. I can tell you right now, most people in this room don't even know. You have no idea the accomplishments and the accolades that this man has. But he walks in humility all the time. He is probably one of the most humble people I know, and I believe that's why he's so teachable. I've told this story over and over before, but he is just so amazing at how I watch him with people, and I'm thinking, when are you going to let them know who you are and what you've done? It drives me nuts. I'm like, I'll toot your horn for you. Do something. Tell them. He's like, no, Gay, I'm not going to do that. I want to learn. I want to learn. I want to know what they know that I don't know. That's called humility. That's called being a teachable leader. The second thing is a teachable leader is hungry for wisdom on a daily basis. A teachable leader is hungry on a daily basis. This quote is profound. Knowledge is proud because it knows so much. Wisdom is humbled because it knows so little. Knowledge is proud because it knows so much. Wisdom is humbled because it knows so little. People who are teachable learn on a daily basis. Since I've known my husband, every morning he gets up. This is back in the day when we did cassette tapes. I know some of my young people go, what in the world is she talking about? But we had cassette tapes, and then we had CD players, and I could watch him just to brush his teeth. He had to make sure he was listening to somebody teaching him something. And then he'd push that. And then when we go down the road, and he always had tapes on. Listen to what he did to me one time. This is what your pastor did to his wife. He knew that I didn't necessarily like listening back then to tapes and all that. And he's taught me to read more. I'm getting better at it. And so he thought, okay, so we're in the car. And he says, okay. And he pushes play on the tape player. And I'm like, look, I'm in La La Land. I'm looking out. I'm like paying attention. And he goes, oh, whoa, did you just hear that? And I was like, what? He goes, push pause. He goes, is there any paper? You know how you have the mail that you don't want, the junk mail on the side of your thing? I'm the only one? Okay. Don't look in our car. And so I go, okay. And he goes, okay, go back. Rewind on the tape. And he goes, write that down. I'm like, okay. And he goes, okay, hit play. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, did you hear what he just said? You got to write that down. This went on for the entire tape. This man knew exactly what he was doing. He was teaching me. And it was interesting. I remember thinking, that's some pretty cool stuff. I never thought of that. I've never heard that. And if I had not been willing to learn and to be teachable, even though he was kicking me in the hiney nicely, it was amazing how much I was learning, but I had to be hungry for it. We're on our honeymoon in Hawaii. We dated 5 years long distance. I'm finally get the man to marry me. And we're on our honeymoon, ladies. Beautiful Hawaii. It's so wonderful. You ever been talking, like we're laying in the sun and my eyes are closed and I'm just pouring my heart out. And I'm thinking, I don't hear any response right now. And I look over and there is no man there. And I'm looking all around the pool like, what? And I look over, and there's PT, had a chair pulled up to a 85-year-old man laying on the lounge and asking him questions and asking him about his life and just learning. Well, I wanted to be mad. I'm thinking, hello, we're on our honeymoon. You got your beautiful wife here, going through the whole thing. And then I went, no, thank God I am married to a man who is daily becoming teachable and learning and knows that even that man he had never met before had something to teach him. So I couldn't get mad. I went over and joined him. I think we had him at dinner that night. Who knows? I never know with PT. I love this quote from Abraham Lincoln. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. Teachable leaders are lifelong students. Class is always in session. I remember, Blake was just talking about it. For me too, I remember when I was like, I am almost out of here, and I can't wait, because God has a sense of humor. Here I am, don't even like school, and he has me trying to teach my children. I don't know where God would go. Anyway, Could not wait to get out of school. And I remember thinking to myself, school's over. Woohoo! I'm done. I had no idea I was only just beginning because class is always in session. Every day. When you get up tomorrow morning, I want you to say to yourself, class has just begun. Who am I going to learn from? What are they going to teach me, right? Class is always in session. Number 3, a teachable leader has a closed mouth. A teachable leader has a closed mouth. Open mind and closed mouth set a stage for learning. Open mind and a closed mouth sets the stage for learning. Doug Larson said this, wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to talk. Wow. Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to talk. Now, this is the thing. Leaders need to talk and need to speak because it's part of your job. A lot of people, it's part of our job. It's part of what we do. But a leader who rarely listens is hardly learning anything to continue leading or speaking. Yes. The power of listening. If you can't be silent, you will have nothing to say. When you're talking, you're not learning because you're already talking about what you know. But when you're listening and you have your mouth shut and you're really paying attention, I'm really going to beg you guys as leaders, do me a favor and make sure you listen with your eyes and your body. Have you ever been talking to someone and they're going, oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, and you're just going, you want to ask them, excuse me, can I just ask, what did I just say? Because they have no idea what you just said. I literally was at church yesterday, and I'm sure that person's not here, so don't get nervous. And I'm talking to this lady, and she asked me a question. And so I'm telling her, and she kept going, yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm like, oh, my word. She's not listening to anything I'm saying. And we got in the car, and Tim had been talking with somebody else, and he goes, oh, my word, they are horrible listeners. I'm like, tell me about it. I just had another one. Horrible listeners. Do me a favor. Don't be a horrible listener. Listen to people. I know people, have you ever done this? Most people listen with a chance to reply back. They're like this, like they're going to pee in their pants because they want to say something so bad. Right? You know, they're like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I got something to say. And you're just going, could you let me get out what I'm going to talk about? And then you can talk. Listen, I'm telling you, leaders, you need to have your mouths shut sometimes because it's the only way. And I've watched, again, my husband, he's an example for all of it. He will listen to people, and I'm like, how are you still listening to that person? But he does because he knows they have something to say. Everybody has something to say. Last one, and Blake already covered it. Teachable leaders ask questions. Teachable leaders ask questions. And he did ask a lot of questions. And I'm always amazed even at my husband. He can get stuff out of people like I've never seen in my life. And I'm like, first of all, this is my thing. How did you know to ask them that? How did you know that? He just has this thing that says, I want this person to share and teach me something. And the only way to do that is to ask a question. We were at an appointment today, and we were talking with someone there. She's from another country. And Tim started asking her questions. We learned so much about her country, stuff I've never even known. And we would have never learned it without asking the questions. And sometimes it drives me nuts because I'll come home. This happened the other day, actually. I'm going to hang out our dirty laundry. They say it dries faster. I came back and I told Tim, I said, I was just talking with this lady. And actually, it was today. I was just talking with this lady, and she overheard me talking, so she started asking me questions and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, oh, okay, well, where's she from? Did you ask her where she's from? No. Then he goes, well, did you ask her this? No. Well, did you ask her this? No, daggone it, you're driving me crazy. Why did I not think to ask those things? I'm like, leave me alone. But he would have asked all of that. He would have just been, oh, how long? So I'm learning because I'm teaching our kids too. Ask people, how long have you been here? Where are you from? But what do you do? Ask people because you learn. You learn. I mean, the man has so much wisdom. See, I remember when we would go do these coliseums with 80 and thousands of people every weekend. and everybody else is off doing whatever. And whatever bigwig leader, and there were big-time leaders that would be speaking, when they finished and they would go back in the green room, I knew where I could find PT. I'll tell you where I found him. With a notebook in hand, asking this leader if he could get him some coffee, sit right at their feet, and just go at it. Question after question after question after question. If you come to our house, I guarantee you there are 800 or more white notebooks from the years of question after question after question after question. Not talk after talk after talk. It was question after question after question after question. Ask. The Bible says, ask and you shall receive. Can you imagine how frustrating God gets? Half the time we don't ask, but we just think, why didn't he do it? We didn't ask. Ask. Leaders, ask. Find out. Get into people's world. And this is the deal. You have to be aware if you're going to ask. You have to be aware. So let's stay humble. Let's stay hungry. Let's listen. And let's ask questions. I love you guys. Here's my amazing husband, PT.
Mrs. Goad threw down. Isn't that wonderful? Look at your neighbor and say, I am so glad you get to see me tonight. Look at your other neighbor and say, I can tell I'm a better leader than you are. I just want to let you know that. Y'all ready to have some more fun? To say I'm proud of Blake Goad would be a really low statement. I'm proud of this young man. I'm proud of what he's becoming. And life for our children has not been easy. And they've been by our side through the storms of life, through everything we go through. I think everybody in here has had a struggle. Maybe you're in one right now. Maybe right now you're on top of the biggest mountain you've ever been in, and right now you may be in the biggest battle of your life. But I can tell you this, you're going to have a great tomorrow. And if you believe that in your heart, that if you can grow as a leader, if you can grow and get into your potential, and by the way, look around, because I don't think any of us right now are living in our full potential. And I have a theory that I believe with everything inside of me, that whenever you remove the dysfunction out of anything, growth is automatic. You cannot talk leadership without talking relationships. So to say I'm not proud of our son, Blake, would be an understatement. Our daughter is in Atlanta tonight in a massive coliseum with other great leaders because she wants to grow. Whew. There's something powerful about being around somebody that wants to grow. I don't want to remain. I don't want to be the same. I don't want to do that. I want to keep growing. I want to keep stretching. There are so many dreams to dream. I just want to encourage you right now tonight to dream bigger dreams, to step into your vision and your future and run for it, and to say that I'm not proud of my wife, who when we were dating, she looked at me and she said, I'll love you like nobody will ever love you, but don't ever ask me to speak. So we went to Hawaii on our honeymoon, and she told you. And I thought she was asleep. I didn't just walk off and leave her. I thought she was sleeping. I thought she was talking in her sleep is what I thought she was doing. But anyhow, we're laying at the pool, and they come by with an Evian water bottle. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, this is really expensive water. I'm used to creek water. I'm a country boy. I'm used to crawdads and snakes and fish. I wasn't used to Evian water. And he walked up and he said, would you like me to spritz you? And I'm like, dude, I'm on my honeymoon. Get out of here. I don't want anything. Anyhow, he said, no, I want to spritz you. I said, well, what is spritzing? He said, oh, I spray this water in the air, and it just spritz down on you. I looked over at my wife and went, you married the right man. You're not at the La Quinta trying to figure it out, baby. You are in the right place at the right time. I threw that in for Carlos Wood, who is watching in Ohio right now. Carlos, I'm calling you out, buddy. Anyhow, it was so great. So we flew home, And I built a lot of different companies and businesses and organizations around the world. And we were in a room with about 200 people, and I said, on the way to the meeting, I said to my wife, you know this conversations if you're married. I said, hey, sweetheart, would you talk tonight? She goes, baby. I know I'm in trouble when she does that, okay? But she said, baby, you know, I said I love you, but don't ever ask me to talk, and don't ever ask me to sing. I said, baby, it's just, all I want you to do is just tell the people what it felt like to be spritzed. Just tell them what that felt like. She goes, sugar, I can't do that. I want to tell you I'm a great leader. As I looked at her and said, okay, don't talk, but would you be willing to share? She said, yes, I would talk like that. So I'm standing over here in the corner. I married this beautiful girl. And she walked out and started talking. And I watched grown men. I'm not talking about like sissy men. I'm not talking about weak men. I'm talking about a man's man. It's like a Marine. They don't cry, but their eyes do sweat. Can I get a, yeah, that's right. Hoorah! Anyhow, I watched these tears streaming down these guys' faces. And I stood there. And I went, oh my goodness. She's got a gift. You see, every one of you in this room tonight have a gift. And if you're struggling in your life right now, it's because you are not in the center of your gift. And leaders get to put people in the center of the sweet spot so they can win in a way they never thought possible. There's no joy in life like seeing people you love win at what comes into their lives, where their passion and their purpose are connected. And they begin to change the world. It's called leadership. It's not about me. It's never been about me. It will never be about you. Do you know why people are so empty? Because they make life about them. They get unhealthy competition. And we tonight are going to talk how to stop self-defeating behaviors. But I remember getting in the car, and it was in Ohio, and it was cold. And I didn't start the car yet. And you could see our breath. And I looked at her, and I went, I still get emotional. I go, Tom, baby, do you understand the gifts that's inside of you? No. Do you know why? She's like you. She's like me. We believe the lie. We run from the greatness that is inside of us because of shame-based thinking. And I just want you to know, if you're going to break out, if you're going to get into your potential, if you're going to be all that you were created to be, I want you to know this year, you have got to get rid of the things that would hold you back. You are not a sum total of the failures in your life. Failure is nothing but dress rehearsal for success in your life. What you're learning, how you're growing, how you're stretching is going to be more important than any other thing in your life. What I love is whenever we've had a challenge in life, guess what we've done? We've not turned on each other. We've turned to each other. That's called leadership. Thank you so much, brother. And I just want you to know tonight, you've got this year, and if you'll stay with me this year, we move this leadership from Tuesdays at 3 o'clock to the first Wednesday of every month at 7 o'clock. And what I want you to do is I want you to help other leaders get in their destiny. Next month, we're going to talk about how to lead yourself. If you want to lead others, the first person you have to do is lead you. And so there's a difference between having somebody that gives you information. A mentor is somebody that helps you get better at who you are. A coach is somebody that helps you get better at what you do. And a pastor is somebody who helps you understand the wisdom of how greatness even comes together in your life. Sadly to say, we don't have a lot of this training going on. Oh, there's a lot of books. There's a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of information. Here's the challenge. Information will change your mind, but it won't change your being. That's why who's mentoring you is more important than what they're saying to you. And a lot of times when you get around the person that can mentor you and help you get into your destiny, I just want to put a warning label on this. You're first going to want to push away from them because they will begin to ask questions that you're not comfortable answering. All right. So I study leaders. Leaders fascinate me. People fascinate me. I could watch them for hours. Here's what I know. You've got greatness in you. You've got potential in you. You don't even understand the potential that you have. But I want you to hear me. If you do not get in your potential, there's a really great chance that the people around you will never get in theirs. Because you become what your closest 5 friends are to you in your life. Don't get mad at me. I love you. My name's PT. If there are 4 guys hanging out that have broke mentality, you will be the 5th. You teach what you know. You reproduce what you are. My son talked about the power of association. I can't tell you how great this is. Iron sharpening iron. That's why we have locker rooms here for men. Why we have girl talks for ladies. It's not that you're bad. It's right now you don't understand. Right now what you're going through does not make sense, but it's because you're being in training for something that you need to grow inside before you can grow outside. Here's what I've discovered about leaders. We want to change our circumstances. I just don't want to change. So in 2024, I'm looking inside me and going, what are the 5 greatest changes that I need to make in my life right now? Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a 4-hour talk in 5 minutes. Are you ready? And we'll talk about this later. Leaders do 4 things. Number 1, they create positive change. Notice I didn't just say change. And I want to give you some homework right now if you're taking notes, and I hope you are, because you'll not remember it. And personal growth is a lot like watching paint dry. And if you want to grow a bunch of leaders that are going to be powerful on this earth, teach them to take notes because they'll change the world. When you come here to G5, you're going to find our leaders, the people that are winning big, are taking notes. They're on their phone taking notes. They're taking paper. I'm still a book guy. I have technology. I love technology, but I still love the feel and the smell of ink on a paper. That's just me. What 5 changes are you going to make? Positive.